But I love this because, for me, in my opinion, we can't scream democracy and gatekeep public seating, point blank period. The way I view it is, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, people won't run against you. Who do I care? Connecting people with policy. Thank y'all for tuning back in. Before we begin, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you're notified whenever I post a new video. Y'all got this big pimple on my face. Goodness gracious, y'all. I don't know where it came from. Can't be stressed because your girl ain't stressing. Been blessed. That ain't right. Can't be stressed because your girl ain't stressing. God been blessing. Rewind. Can't be stressed because the girl ain't stressing because God's been blessing. Today's video, we are going to watch Cornel West. He did an interview with the Breakfast Club. If you don't know Cornel West, he's running for president as an independent. And yeah, his independency raised an uproar, kind of, because they were like, oh, you're going to split the Democratic vote, yada, yada, yada. But in hindsight, if Joe Biden is doing what he needs to do, then splitting the vote shouldn't matter, in my opinion, at least. Like, if you're doing what you need to do, then none of that should matter. Anywho, we're only going to watch, like, 10, 15 minutes of it. Let me go ahead and get it started. The whole interview is almost an hour. Sorry, guys, I'm hungry. So we're going to go ahead and watch like 10 to 15 minutes of it. And we're going to go right into it. Make sure y'all comment your thoughts below. If you have any suggestions or recommendations of what I should react to, comment that below as well. When y'all comment, it really helps the algorithm, not going to lie. So just comment even like your @ name or something, you know, help your girl out. Anyways, let's get right into it.
In the morning, the Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Charlemagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast. We Club. We also have Teslin Figaro with us this morning, and we have a special guest, Dr. Cornel West. Welcome, brother.
Oh, y'all blessing me in this consecrated space. All this rich spirit and stories and narratives and laughter, and you all deal with some serious issues too. And to have our dear sister here, though, indeed, Sister Teslin, is a blessing.
How you feeling, brother?
To have you here, brother. How you feel today?
Oh, I'm still swinging, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm still swinging. Don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing, you know what I mean?
and you swinging because you are running for president. So tell the people, why did you decide to go through that strenuous and stressful thing?
Well, you know, my brother, I've been running for truth and justice all my life, though, man. So this is just another context, another moment that we got to be true to the best of all the love and care. And in Clifton West, that's Mom and Dad. That's Shiloh Baptist Church on the chocolate side of Sacramento. That's the Black Panther Party. We set the highest standards of integrity, honesty, decency, but most importantly, courage. It's got to break the back of fear. We got too many folks running around scared and intimidated and kowtowing, you see. And that's what I've always tried to do. So running for president,
I love his energy, love his vibe. More than likely, I honestly don't know who I'm voting for, y'all. I already said that before. I don't know who I'm voting for, but I'm still kind of confused on some of his policies and how he plans to implement it. But I will say I won't count him out this election.
Yes, a particular moment in a larger calling of running for truth and justice. If we had some folk really talking about mass incarceration, really talking about decrepit schools, really talking about unemployment, underemployment, really talking about the ways in which black folk are still subjugated, then I wouldn't need to run. I could just kick it back, go back into the studio and make another record with Sly Stone. You know, we just dropped one on Friday with Destiny with Sly. And Sly, you know, Sly for me is one of the great artistic heroes of our time, as is James Ntume. I want to salute Brother James Ntume, a Glenn Ford, a revolutionary black journalist, a Bell Hooks herself. So when I come into a space like this, I feel at home because you all been wrestling with the same issues week in and week out. And it's a beautiful thing to be here.
Happy to have you here, brother. You know, I see that the Democrats and a lot of progressives are saying they wish you wouldn't run, saying that your presidential bid could cripple President Biden's potential run. How does that feel to be that kind of threat, to be that kind of disruptor?
Well, it's a beautiful thing.
Period.
It's a beautiful thing, though. Man, that's what it means to be a servant of the people.
Exactly.
You see, Harriet Tubman was a threat to the white supremacist order.
I love this. Okay, I'm gonna stop eating just in case it's distracting y'all. My bad. Stuff in my face. But I love this because, for me, in my opinion, we can't scream democracy and gatekeep public seating. Point blank. Period. The way I view it is, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, people won't run against you. Point blank. Period. If you're doing what you're supposed to do, people are not going to run against you. That's not really hard to like grab. It's not hard to comprehend. I think him running and people getting mad at him running speaks high volume, because you can't just dictate what's true democracy and what's not. Like, Joe Biden does not own the seat. You think when we die and we stand before God, he's going to cut the seats, he's going to cut the gates, the line to heaven because he was the president? Like, be for real. He does not own the seat. Dr. Cornel West, he has every right to run for president. Point blank. Period. And I think a lot of Democrats are very hypocritical when it comes to this too.
Frederick Douglass was a threat. That's why he put a bounty on his head. Ida B. Wells was a threat against lynching and American terrorism, Jim and Jane Crow. That's why they put a bounty on his head. Martin King, Fannie Lou Hamer, they were threats. And what does it mean to be a threat? What it means to be a threat is you calling into question an order that's predicated on too much suffering of precious everyday people. Now, the funny thing for me is, here it is. I haven't had one public event. I haven't had one fundraiser. And they say I'm a threat and a menace to the constitutional order. I say, yeah, that's what I need to be doing. That's precisely what I need to do. You see? Because the Constitution was pro-slavery in practice for 75 years. It's pro-Jim and Jane Crow in practice for 100 years. These days, the new Jim Crow. I always begin, as a Christian, I begin with the least of these. Which means I look at the world through the lens of my partners who incarcerated. I've been blessed to teach in prisons for 41 years. Now, I asked the Democrats, what are you doing about mass incarceration? Biden, you was an architect of it with a white supremacist named Thurman.
Hey, man, he ain't lie. He didn't lie.
That's right.
With Strom, what are you doing about mass incarceration? I want to know. If you're not doing about it, how am I spoiling your votes? You're not speaking to the needs of my people. You're not speaking to the needs of those who are suffering.
Right.
So I'm not a spoiler. I'm casting a spotlight on that which you don't want to come to terms with. If you were really concerned about the issues I'm concerned about, then steal my thunder. Be on the cutting edge of eliminating mass incarceration. Be on the cutting edge of abolishing poverty, abolishing homelessness, and we were just talking to my beloved wife Anahita here, the unhoused precious brothers and sisters. If you really want to speak to the issues, be on the edge of trying to gain access of workers with a living wage. Then I wouldn't have no ground.
That's right.
You see? So they think that but people say, well, it's just a
He's
person.
spitting facts. He is spitting facts. I have a question for Democrats out there. No, I have questions for Democrats who have a problem with him running under a third party. If you truly believe Joe Biden is doing what he needs to do, if you truly believe that Joe Biden has been meeting the standard that a lot of people had, why does it concern you that Dr. Cornel West is running for president under a third party? Why is there a concern that he may split the votes if you truly believe Joe Biden has been doing what he's supposed to do? If I'm fully confident in what's in front of me, I'm not worried about what's next to it, period. I'm not worried about what is trying to come and take its place because I'm fully confident, remember? Because what he's saying is true. They're not fully confident in what Biden has been doing, and they know him running under a third party, a lot of people are going to end up voting for him, and they know it's going to split his votes, whatever that means, and they know that ultimately whoever is the primary winner for the Republican Party, the way it's looking right now, it's going to be Donald Trump, is going to end up winning.
Thing is just a vanity thing. please, I just turned 70 years old. The last thing I want to do is be wrestling with the issues in the American empire that have to do with just how sick and indifferent and callous our elites are when it comes to poor people and working people. But I got to be true to one's calling.
Yeah, Dr. West,
Yeah.
you just touched on something about teaching in the prison for the last 41 years. You know, you obviously teach at a Ivy League. You have an Ivy League background. Teach at Ivy League at Princeton University. Can you speak a little bit, because I follow your entire career, and you mentioned it earlier about servant leadership. What does that mean, and why should we be looking for that in any elected official? How you're using your skill in an area that most would not?
Yes, indeed. And then to get this blessing to see, I know you were kind enough to give me that long ride. Was it from Iowa to Chicago?
Yes, sir.
The days we were out
Yes,
there
sir.
with Brother Bernie and others. But I want to put this in context. You see, that each and every one of us, we are great to the degree to which we're true to the greatness that's been put inside of us. You see, so that the love of Mom and Dad, the love of Shiloh, Reverend Cook, the love of Deacon Hinton, and then get to the music. See, my life is inseparable from the love of Curtis Mayfield and Donny Hathaway and Aretha, the love of Phyllis Hyman. These people made a difference in my life. The Whispers, the Delphonics, and Enchantment.
He has such a lovely,
and
like,
so
old
these are not
soul.
just entertainers. I don't exist without that flow of love. Now, then the question becomes, what are you going to do with the love? Well, I like spend time with books and libraries and things. I like to read so that I want to give in my own way. If I could sing like Marvin Gaye, I would be singing. But I try to read like Du Bois. I try to read like Toni Morrison. I got to work relative to my own gifts. And then I recognize, lo and behold, I come from a great black people. There's no other people in 400 years who've been so chronically hated and yet taught the world so much about love. No other people. John Coltrane's Love Supreme, Toni Morrison's Beloved, James Baldwin's Love, Soak Essays, and we ain't got the Stevie Wonder Let Love in Need of Love. What is it about these people who terrorized for 400 years but don't form a black version of the Ku Klux Klan?
Ooh.
You see, that
Mic drop. No, he said something deep there. He said something deep there. Ooh. We actually don't talk about that enough. Like, a lot of people like to throw jabs, talking points about the black community and how specifically descendants of slave, they need to get over slavery, they need to do A, they need to do B, why you keep using that as an excuse or so forth. Number one, the repercussions of slavery was never acknowledged in this country, in my opinion. Number two, the fact that we've gone through so much just in this country, and the fact that we're not even living on revenge, because we have so much pure and love in our hearts, to not live on revenge speaks volume. Like, be for real. He makes a lot of sense there, and it's ooh. Because when you think about it, why did the KKK, why were y'all formed? Like, KKK wasn't formed out of revenge. It wasn't like, oh, these black people came and killed so bunch of white people and this and that. KKK was formed out of hate. Okay, then.
Continually call for the freedom of everybody. That's a spiritual and a moral discipline that the whole world takes notice of.
Who never tried to overthrow the government.
Who never tried to overthrow the government the way in which
They did
the
on
right
January
wing
6th. That's
gangsters
right.
did. You
That's
see,
right.
now, and of course, there's a sense in which we had good reason to overthrow the government.
That's right.
If you're going to put my mama under slavery, I'm going to be part of a group that overthrows the government, because when you love your mama, you hate the fact she's being treated unjustly.
That's right.
That's why I love the Frederick Douglasses and the Malcolm X's and the Black Panther Party and so many others, right? Now, at the same time, I'm a revolutionary Christian, which means
Grace.
what? Which means that my conception of greatness is not Alexander the Great, gangster who involved in conquest and domination and subjugation. That's America. See, when Trump say great, what he means is conquest, domination, marginalization. When I say great, I'm talking about Fannie Lou Hamer. I'm talking about Martin King. I'm talking about Marcus Garvey. What are they talking about? Trying to ensure they create orders in which everybody's treated with dignity. Now, that's a high standard. That's like trying to pick up the saxophone and listen to John Coltrane. That standard's going to hurt you because it's so high. But you know what the standards are. And the crucial point is, how do you pass it on to the younger generation? And the only way you pass it on, my dear sister, is by example. By example.
What do you think?
Part of the problem these days, we got too many black leaders who are no longer on the love train, they're on the gravy train.
Ooh, they about the money.
It's
About their money.
the Benjamin.
Woo! Dr. Cornel West, if you're watching this or anybody on your team watching it, please have a sit down with me. I want to interview. I want to interview you. Goodness. Did he lie though? He did not lie. So many of black leaders today oh my gosh, it's a money train for them. Literally.
Wu-Tang Clan, cream.
Cash rules everything around me.
But it don't have to rule me. Rule everything around me.
That's right.
That's the genius from Staten Island, right?
That's right.
That's real. The highest standards that we set are our black musicians. Black musicians are the vanguard of the black freedom struggle. Because it's in black music that black people experience a foretaste of the freedom that we want. The anthem of my brothers in prison for 41 years. It could be in Greensville and Poughkeepsie. It could be in Sing Sing. I've taught in Rahway. I've taught in Garden City. What's the anthem? Zoom by the Commodore. Freedom Dream. I like to get away. Well, I like to get away. What you want to do? You get some distance from all these lies, this suffering, all of this pain, all these wounds and scars. And what you gonna do with it? I'm gonna make it better for everybody else, not just myself. And to be on the gravy train is to be in it just for yourself and forget about what your grandmama did for you. Forget about what your partner did for you or your companion did for you, or even when your child looks at you and says, who are you really, Daddy? Who are you really, Mama? Are you really giving? That's the greatness. In the biblical, he or she is greatest among you will be your servant. What does it mean to serve? And of course, the crucial challenge there is, and this is where it gets really very funky, and we got to bring in Bootsy and Clinton and the greatest of them all, James Brown, because you see, when you niggerize a people, a dignified African people, you teach them that they're less beautiful, they're less intelligent, they're less moral, but you keep them fearful. You know that line in
That's
James
true.
Baldwin, that letter to his nephew in Fire Next Time?
That's
They
true.
don't.
You keep them mentally, like, imprisoned. That's why I always say, in this life, the greatest thing that you can have is a peace of mind. When you fear nothing and no one but God, can nobody tell you anything. You maneuver in a different way. You walk a different way. You can't fear man. You can't fear the what ifs. This is actually really good. Oh my gosh.
Comma, be afraid. I heard in Shiloh Baptist Church, don't be afraid. Martin Luther King used to say what? I'd rather be dead than afraid. Mary Ellen Pleasant. Y'all know Mary Ellen Pleasant, the black sister in California, who was a multimillionaire that gave John Brown, the white brother who died for black people, gave him $600,000 in 1856. He had the note from Mary in his pocket when he was executed, and she was beginning every presentation. I'd rather be a corpse than a coward. You got to break the back of fear. Too many of our black people, but especially our leaders, those the great Glenn Ford called misleadership. They scared. They don't want to tell the truth about the suffering in the hood. They don't want to tell the truth about the mass incarceration. They don't want to tell the truth about the decrepit schools and indecent housing and not enough Medicare for everybody.
Yes.
They scared. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
That absolutely. And so when I hear, Brother Biden, I love how you push Biden.
Thank you, sir.
You see, and it's in love because you loving the people.
That's right.
Right.
If you love the people, you free. You got to be a free black person. I'm a Jesus-loving free black man, but Malcolm X is a Allah-loving black man. I don't exist without Malcolm. Bell Hooks was a Buddhist. I don't exist without Bell Hooks. C.L.R. James was an atheist, but he's a free black man. I don't exist without him.
Y'all. I ain't gonna say he earned my vote because it's gonna take more than just this interview. I actually have to look deeper into his policies and stuff, but he is intriguing. Like my radar is blinking right now because he's just dropping gems. And the way that I like how he acknowledged how Charlemagne, not acknowledges, I like how he acknowledged how Charlemagne calls out Joe Biden. Because a lot of people that look like us, they don't. A lot of people expect us to just go along with it because he's a Democrat. Even in my past, on my TikTok, even on my TikTok, my social media, people will ask me, aren't you a Democrat? Why are you calling out Joe Biden and this and the third? Baby, my identity's not in politics. My identity is in Christ. And I fight for something bigger than myself, meaning the people. So if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, I don't care what party affiliation you're in, I'm going to call you out. I really like Cornel's West interview right now. Like, the point about the fear point, that's like what's ringing to me, because you can't fear nothing. Woo.
But how do you break the back of fear? Now, you got somebody like Brother Biden talking about, America's not a racist country.
Yeah, right.
Get off the crack pipe, brother.
It bothers me more when I hear black people say that. When I hear the vice president say that.
Sister Kamala come right back.
Tim Scott.
I say, Sister Kamala, all that love, black love you got in California, and you went to Howard University, and she's my AKA sister. You know that that's not true. Have enough courage to break the back of fear. Just tell the truth about just how racist the country is.
I think that's what a lot of black folks are trying to get at, because we can't move past something if you don't acknowledge it. So a lot of people are just trying to just call it for what it is. Call it for what it is, but instead you see people like Ron DeSantis in Florida trying to erase history as if it never happened. Like, we're just talking in circles. It's about seeing what happened, acknowledging it, and where do we go from here, and growing from here. Yeah.
Come Clyburn. Well, it's not a racist country. They just have racist patches. Come on, brother. You in SNCC in the 1960s? What happens? They become so well adjusted to injustice and well adapted to indifference. That what I call is the peacock mentality. And this is what happens with being on the gravy train. They walk around strutting, look at me, I'm at the top. I'm a black face in a high place. And I can hear my grandmama saying peacock strut because they can't fly. Oh, we are people of eagles. That's what we black folk at our best. Now, I ain't saying that that's every black person. We got some black thugs and black gangsters, and I got a whole lot of gangster in me. I got a whole lot of thug in me. Ain't no doubt about it.
I was going to ask, when you talk about Biden and you see the amount of support that a lot of our community gives him, what is your thoughts with all the things that you just said and all the things that he put us through? How you feel about that, and what's your biggest hurdle with making sure that those people that supported Biden and with all the effects that he's done to us support you?
Before he even answers that question, 2024 Biden administration is, as of right now, they're going to be in for a rude awakening. A lot of black voters are not going to support Biden like they did in 2020. Just putting it out there. A lot of black voters are actually leaving the Democratic Party and going independent, or just going, I don't know the numbers around them going to Republican, but I know a lot of current black voters are actually in the midst or trying to change their voter registration to independent. The support that they thought that they had in 2020 with black voters showing up and showing out, you're not going to get that again. Sorry. It's not going to happen. A lot of black folks are starting to wake up. When you become such an individual intellectual thinker, certain things just don't fly no more. And that is what I'm starting to see within our community. We're just starting to prioritize policy rather than party, as it should be.
is that I do recognize that we black folk have always been between a rock and a hard place. Henry Highland Garnett gave that famous speech of 1837 in Philadelphia where he said, black people must never confuse our situation with that of the Israelites in the Hebrew scripture. For us, Pharaoh is on both sides of the bloody Red Sea. That's real. So that's the fear too, you see. So Biden and the Democratic Party can just say, if you don't opt for me, and I ain't done nothing about mass incarceration, 39% of our black children still living in poverty. I ain't done that. I haven't focused on it, but Trump is worse. Mm-hmm. Trump is worse every 4 years. Republicans are worse. Yeah. Republicans are worse.
They've been feeding that. He said it's true, but at this point, it's just like they've been feeding us that narrative for so long. Oh, Republicans are worse. Republicans are worse. But it's just like the same argument you're using against Republicans, we can use against the Democrats. Like, if we're being honest. Like, I don't know, man. It's,
So you say, between a rock and a hard, but wait a minute. We got to reach the point where we say, we got to speak our truth. And we got to understand we're between a rock and a hard place. That's true. Mm-hmm. And what happened in that convention in 1837, somebody? We have no way out. Somebody sang a song. Somebody tell a story about the love of your child and the love of your loved one. That's the only thing keeps black folk going. Think about Jim Crow, South Carolina, where you come from, brother. Is that right, Charles?
That's right, absolutely.
Absolutely. That's Dizzy Gillespie. That's James Brown.
Yes, sir.
That's South Carolina.
Yes, sir.
And what was it about South Carolina? Just like Mississippi, the only two states that had a majority of black people. What does that mean? That meant that the level of terror and trauma against this brother's family was even more intense. Why? Because they were scared. You say these black folk get together, they might want to create a decent society for them, and a decent society for them means we're going to have to give up some power, give up some resources, give up something. And unfortunately, we're living in such a moment of spiritual decay, not just in the nation, but in black America. We just got too many black folk who are scared and fearful and intimidated and don't want to speak the truth.
When you hear allies, well, I guess allies of yours like AOC say Cornel West is too big of a risk because of the Electoral College and the fact you may take some of those votes. What do you think of people like that? Because they're progressive. Shouldn't they want these issues on the ticket? Shouldn't they want somebody like you on the ticket bringing up these issues?
Right, no, it's true, and that's a wonderful question, though, because you've got a progressive slice in the Democratic Party. Now, I was with Brother Bernie, as my dear sister knows, twice. They treated him badly. They treated him unjustly. They rigged the whole thing. You had Hillary Clinton and the others were going to ensure that he did not. It's crazy
because Bernie, he did endorse Biden, but Bernie, he's like that type of person or politician. He's not even really a politician, in my opinion. I feel like Bernie actually doesn't try. He tries not to play the game, but even with Bernie, he's like, whatever is best for the people, whatever is best for the people. He's always been like mediator, peacemaker, but the way they did Bernie was wrong. Point blank, period. The way they did him was really wrong.
Win no matter what. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So at the core of the Democratic Party is a rot. And that rottenness is corporate greed. And they tied to big money, big donors, big benefactors. Can't be a member of the Democratic Party and win without access to big money. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm as broke as the Ten Commandments financially. Personally, collectively, and I don't mind. Because somewhere I read, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all the rest of the things will be added. So when I hear AOC, I say, okay, she's part of that progressive small slice of the Democratic Party, but she's giving in to the perceptions of the corporate wing of that party. And the corporate wing says over and over again, all we have is two parties. It's freaking frack. It's Tweedledee and Tweedledum. There is a difference domestically, but not a whole lot of difference in terms of foreign policy. You ask Palestinian brothers on the West Bank, when they got the various bombs coming at them, when 550 Palestinian children are killed in 50 days. Somewhere I read or somewhere I heard in Vacation Bible School in Shiloh Baptist Church, Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world, red or yellow, black or white. They are precious in his sight. So a Palestinian child has exactly the same value as a precious Jewish child. An oppressed Jewish child has exactly the same value as a oppressed black or red or indigenous or anywhere else, Ethiopian, Lithuanian, and so forth. And you ask the black politician, how come you won't say a mumbling word about the Palestinians undergoing that kind of suffering? They're on the gravy train. They've adjusted themselves. So AOC is on the progressive side of the Democratic Party, but she at the same time now has become so well adjusted to the core of the Democratic Party. And she can change. I mean, and I'm, as a Christian, I try to love everybody. So everybody.
Well,
Right.
Dr. West, I want to follow up on that because you are right. The progressive movement, it started out, what everybody is.
The movement doesn't even exist no more, y'all. Like, let's be for real. It's like, who's progressive at this point? Like, even with myself, I always consider myself progressive independent. Like, when it comes to our economy, I'm always progressive when it comes to progressive policies. I tend to go for more progressive policies when it comes to our economy overall, as far as like affordable health care, as far as livable wages and so forth. But it's like, even right now, who is actually a true progressive? It's like everyone's the same. Can't trust no one.
It happened well before Bernie Sanders, but everybody was feel the burn, and now that burn is kind of fizzled out because there is a current split between those that still support the squad and then those who are now calling them the fraud squad because they have switched. So how do we?
I haven't heard the fraud. Well, I'm not really on like Twitter like that or whatever, so that's probably why. But the fraud squad, that's the first I've heard it. That's crazy.
Where's the accountability? A lot of folks feel that Black people should be involved in the progressive movement. I don't think we have the leadership that it needs as far as those who are making the decisions at the top, not just the faces. But how do we hold people like AOC accountable that said, and I'm just using her for example, piggybacking off Charlamagne's question, but what do we do for those that said, no, we're going to push the line, we're going to go hard, and then they flip?
Yeah, we just got to tell the truth. Tell the truth in humility. And the truth is a jagged edge in Janet's face, which is to say it has a number of different dimensions to it. It comes back at us and it goes at others. No one of us have a monopoly on truth.
That's right.
Truth is bigger. Justice is bigger. Beauty's bigger. Love is bigger. But we got to be honest. We got to be candid. Now, for example, if AOC was doing something important on the local level, if she was dealing with housing evictions, and I'm in solidarity with folk dealing with all this gentrification, all this land grab and power grab, and they wanted to do something within the neighborhood, I'd be there with her. Because it ain't about her, it ain't about me, it's about the people suffering. But when it comes to presidential politics, and people like so quick to endorse without leverage, I mean, it's amazing to me that people say, Brother West, you have a chance of turning the whole election. I told my wife, now how in the world, just 3 months ago, I wake up and I'm listening to Aretha. Ain't nobody thinking about me. 3 months later, I got the power to turn the whole election.
Yeah, that means somebody not doing something right.
You ain't lying.
That's right.
You got this black congressional caucus.
That just means someone's not doing their job correctly. Like,
and there all that time, and I'm out there lecturing and writing and so forth and so on. And then all of a sudden I got this leverage, but I can tell you one thing, that they're going to have to put me in the grave before I sell out black people, because I ain't selling out my mama. Oh, I'm not selling out my daddy. No, they were always greater than me. Greater in love, greater in wisdom, you see. So when I have leverage, I don't look at the black community the way my brother Tavis Smiley says so many other politicians do, as some political calculation. No, not at all. These are the people that love me into my sanity, into my dignity. You see, it's like me giving up Curtis Mayfield and opting for the Beach Boys. I'm not gonna do it. I ain't got nothing against Beach Boys, but it ain't my thing.
That's right.
Ain't my thing.
That's right.
No. I'm down.
Okay. This is really good. I might do a part 2. If you want part 2, comment down below. But it's already at 20 minutes. But I will do a part 2 if y'all want part 2. Go ahead and comment down below. But anyway, my overview of this interview, y'all, he is dropping gems. You may not like how he says it, because some people think he's theatrical. Me personally, I'm from the South. You see this is a lot how people act all the time, especially our older heads or OGs. Y'all, this was a really good interview. I'm not even gonna front. I'm not even going to front. Like I said before, I didn't know who I was going to vote for. No one was really on my radar, but now the way it's looking, I'm going to look more into Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Cornel West as far as like doing deeper research, because this was a really good interview. Comment your thoughts down below. What his, especially whenever he was talking about how we can maneuver in fear and it prevents us from actually pushing that line and growing because we're and fearful. So just comment your thoughts below. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications to be notified whenever I post a new video. Y'all, I really appreciate y'all's consistent support. Like, yeah, what would y'all rate this interview? This was really good. I'm actually probably gonna do a part 2 whether y'all want one or not. But yeah, it's your girl Udo at Connecting People with Policy. I will see y'all later. Toodles.